Andrew Whitworth, when he was asked whether or not he's going to run it back, deferred very quickly and said, well, let's talk about that some other time. Take a listen to that and what he had to say about his career ending here in Los Angeles.
Oh, you know what? We'll save that conversation for another day. But what I will say, because I hadn't touched on this yet, 5 years ago, I was told I was a little too old. And I was told that maybe my time was done. And I tell you this, for every single person standing out there that's ever doubted anything you've ever done, bet on yourself, because 5 years later, I'm holding this trophy up and I'm 40 years old. Let's go. Don't let anybody's opinions of you ever become your reality. Bet on yourself. World damn champions.
Okay, so let's kind of just jump in on that right there. That this is a guy who clearly has decided, I think, and nothing official yet, but that he's had enough of his playing life in the NFL. He's been in the league nearly 2 decades. He is a Hall of Fame candidate when he's eligible coming up, probably in 5 years. He's a multiple-time Pro Bowler, and he just closed the whole show with a Super Bowl championship. Andrew Whitworth also managed to do something here in LA that's pretty difficult to do, and especially pretty difficult to do when you start and spend the vast majority of your career somewhere else. Andrew Whitworth was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals and spent 2/3 basically of his career in Cincinnati, was an all-pro, was a very highly regarded guy. He comes to LA kind of as a security blanket for Jared Goff, right? They need the left tackle. They need to solidify some performance on that offensive line. Sean McVay and Les Snead identify Andrew Whitworth as that guy, and they go and they get him. And it was basically an opportunity for him to finish his career in a different market, but also be part of a team that's going to be pretty good. And he'll be the wise old guy. He'll be the guy that kind of gets everybody else through the difficult portions. And he's the perfect guy at the perfect moment. But it's even better than that. It turns out that the Rams not just were a team that was on the rise, but a team that showed up almost instantly, right? That they go from a terrible team at 4-12 to a very good team that's a division championship to the very next year you're in the Super Bowl against the Patriots to 3 years after that you're Super Bowl champions in Super Bowl 56. Andrew Whitworth was a huge part of why they were here. And he's more than likely leaving. And it's going to leave a massive hole, not just on the offensive line. I think the Rams, from a player perspective, will probably be okay. Have an opportunity to slide Joe Noteboom into that spot, assuming that he's healthy, and really probably not see a massive drop-off at that position. Andrew Whitworth's still a very high-level guy, but he's 40 years old, the largest guy, or I should say the oldest guy ever to start at left tackle in the NFL, in the playoffs, and certainly in the Super Bowl. You can put we saw Joe Noteboom in the playoffs. We saw Joe Noteboom towards the end of the season, and he played very well. He's a very versatile lineman. You can kind of slide him up and down the entire line, maybe with the exception of center along the way. But it's not just that Andrew Whitworth is going to be gone and you need to replace your left tackle. It's that Andrew Whitworth is going to be gone and he's not going to be in the building potentially. He's not going to be available to talk to the other guys on that offensive line, to talk to the other guys in the offensive room, to talk to the entire team. Aaron Donald is going to set the tone. Aaron Donald's going to be the guy that is your best player. He's going to be arguably your emotional leader on the defensive side of the ball. And Matthew Stafford is obviously the quarterback. And with being the quarterback comes all the responsibilities that are inherent in that position. You're the one that's going to talk first. You're going to be the media guy. You're going to be the guy that makes all the money, that does all the commercials, all of those things. Andrew Whitworth's kind of the heart and soul of the offense. Andrew Whitworth is the guy that's doing tutorials for the other guys on the offensive line, the younger guys, the older guys. He's the guy that's leading the sprints during training camp. 40 years old and leading the sprints. Come on, man. I know that's kind of one of those things. Like, yeah, whatever. It matters. When he showed up, the team was very different. The team had a certain sense of professionalism that wasn't there before. And I think one of the greatest legacies that he's going to leave behind, it's not just that he was a very good player and made Pro Bowls and won a Super Bowl and went to another one. It's that he built a culture of how this offensive line is going to function. And whoever it is next, whether it's Brian Allen or Joe Noteboom or Rob Havenstein or Edwards or any of the guys on this line who come back and who were here for the Andrew Whitworth era, they're going to know what it takes to work. They're going to know what it takes to, like you heard in that cut there, to believe in yourself, to not let anybody tell you're too slow, you're too old, you're too heavy, or whatever it might be. Go to work. Do the things that need to get done every day. The coaches can tell you all these things that you want, and sometimes it'll go in and sometimes it won't. But when it's one of your peers, when it's a guy like Andrew Whitworth saying it, makes a huge difference. And you start to understand it and you start to be one of those guys. So when he leaves, his ethos, his personality, his professionalism is still in the building. And it's an incredibly valuable thing that he brought because it stays long after he leaves, long after he's done holding that edge, long after he's done protecting Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff's blind side. His work ethic, his professionalism, his study, his fitness, his toughness, all of these things that he brought to this team will still be there long after he left. That's how you know you've made an impact on a team, not just by blocking this guy or knowing your assignment or having this guy's back, but by leaving a mark in an organization that's still there long after you leave. Aaron Donald's going to leave that mark. Sean McVay is going to leave that mark. And Andrew Whitworth is certainly one of those guys that did it as well. He also did that thing that's so impossible to do, to come in and be a community leader in a relatively short period of time. There's a lot of things that have happened during his tenure here in LA. We had the terrible fires. We had that terrible shooting up near where the Rams practice. He was out and around the community and leading very, very early. He's the guy, and he and his family have donated a ton of money. He has not just come here to play football. He's ingratiated himself into the community, which is incredibly important. You see people around, whether it's with the Dodgers or whether it's with the Lakers or any USC or any of the other teams that are deeply embedded here in the fabric of the city of Los Angeles. The Rams are starting to do that, and they've done it with guys like Andrew Whitworth. He will absolutely be missed along the way. Just an incredible career. I hope he gets a gold jacket.